Welcome to the Rusted Garden. Today I want to talk about how you would start an emergency food garden, but there's not an emergency. So I don't want this to be a video where you have to think, I got to run out, I got to grow my own food, we're going to run out of food. We're not going to. But I have so many people asking me, how can I get a garden started really quickly? And that's what they're looking up, emergency gardens, supplemental gardens. I want to show you the best way to start if you haven't had a garden before and you want to just get going. We're going to start with growing in these cells. These are 72 cells. They come in flats. You can pick up the flats at Home Depot, Lowe's, Walmart. I sell them at my seed shop at a pretty competitive price. And the reason you want to start here is because you may not have a garden right now. I don't want you running out, digging up ground, spending a lot of money. Let's just start with this. And if you need these plants, as time goes on, you can put them out in a garden. If you don't need the plants and you find you really love gardening, you're going to have a new hobby. So, you start your cool weather crops now. These are lettuces, cilantro, parsley, more lettuces back there, endives, kales, mustard greens, all kinds of cool weather crops. And you can just start them in potting mix. I'm going to show you how to do that today. I'm going to show you how to put the seeds in, and you're going to have 144 plants that you can start growing in these cells. And over the next week or two, you can think about where you're going to plant them. You can build your garden. You can grow in containers. You can grow in flower box. But the starting point is right here in these seed cells. Now, you might notice these are a little bit bigger. That's fine. If you want to grow something bigger, you're going to have to find these online. Again, I sell them at my seed shop. You're only going to be able to find the bigger ones online, so you're going to have to check out different places. And the reason you would grow in a bigger cell is because you can leave the plants in there longer, and it gives you more time to prepare the garden and set up. Now, first thing we're going to do is plant them. Let's go do that now, and then I'll talk about how do you take care of these by moving them in and outdoors. So you want to buy any potting mix. I don't recommend a specific brand. Buy whatever is on sale, whatever meets your budget. Most of them come with fertilizers, so we don't even need to fertilize the starting mix. And it's really a combination of peat moss, vermiculite, perlite, wood chips. So these are going to be moved in and outdoors. So the first thing you want to do is you take your empty cell, you break these up, take the empty cell, you put in the starting mix, and it's going to be really loose. So you want to thumb pack it down. You really want a nice starting base for all your seeds so that it looks something like that. And then you just take another handful and put it across the top. And you're going to just go over it until you have something that's nice and firm, looks like that. Remove any big pieces, and that's what we're going to go inside and plant. So you end up with 72 cells filled up like this. It's raining, it's windy out, so we're going to go plant inside. And the reason I want to do this video is I want people to start with this. You don't need to go outside and start worrying about where you're going to plant everything. I have a bunch of different gardens I'll show you. This will be a couple-part series. And although technically we say starting an emergency garden, this is just how you would start up if you really wanted to just start your first vegetable garden. Don't spend a lot of money setting everything up out here. Let's just start with getting the plants growing. It's a lot of fun, and I'll show you how to do that. So before we start planting the seeds upstairs, I just want to show you what I've been growing. Some of these have been growing indoors with grow lights and an elaborate setup. You don't need to do that. You don't need to spend money on grow lights. I'm going to show you how to set it up just by planting in the cells and again moving them in and outdoors. These are the cool weather crops. They go into the ground first, but I'm also growing right in there tomatoes. So you can start tomato transplants the same way. And right in the front of that tray, I have eggplant and peppers. So you don't need to spend any money setting up anything elaborate inside. I want to go about this the cheapest way possible, introduce you to seed starting, and then teach you how to get them into the ground. And this is a great way to supplement your food supply, save money, supplement your income. If, a lot of us are locked down now and we're not working, it's a great way to save money. But you don't have to spend a lot, is my point. So what I think is really important, especially with this health crisis, so we don't get scared into spending more money than we need to. If you want to work on having a garden, I think it's great. Let's just start this way, because everything that you see here, the seed cells, the seeds themselves, the potting mix, you can really find anywhere from probably on a really cheap end 20 all the way up to 40 bucks. But you're going to get 72 plants, and if you just think about it, you know, one head of lettuce, $2 times 144, that's $288. You can really save a lot of money by doing this. But don't panic, don't feel like you have to go spend a ton of money. So this is green Bibb lettuce. So what we're planting are cool weather vegetables, which means they like 45-degree soil temperature outside. They can do well with 40 to 50-degree nights. They can take a frost actually. They like 50, 60, 70-degree days. So these are everything you plant now in the cool areas. So your lettuce seeds are small. There's two ways to do lettuce seeds. You can grow a single plant. We're going to put 2 seeds in each of these. They're small, so they're hard to see. We're putting 2 seeds in each of them, right on top. And we're going to grow these to full size. We're going to try and get 1 or 2 plants together to a nice big size so that you just cut the whole loose leaf head and make a salad out of that. Now in here below it, same seeds, the green Bibb lettuce, we're going to put 6-8 seeds into each cell. We're going to grow this as cut and come again lettuce. So while these are growing bigger up here, when these get to be 3-4 inches tall, we're going to cut them, leave the roots in the ground, harvest the baby leaves, and new leaves will be coming up. So we'll be able to eat at different times by just doing these different setups. So 2 seeds are in there. You can just mix in the top of the mix. Get the seeds under the potting mix. You don't have to worry about how deep they go. So we have 2 seeds in each of these. If you find a big piece of wood in the way, get rid of it. And then just collect the potting mix, press it in. Same with this, you mix it in. So what I recommend is doing a couple kinds of loose leaf lettuce. I'm not going to do all that in the video. You get the point. And you do it the same way. 1 or 2 seeds for full heads, 6-8 seeds for cut and come again lettuce. And we're going to grow them all in these little cells. And I'll talk about how you take care of growing the plants when we're done. So we're going to put, let me just mark it. This is the, and you definitely want to mark your plants because you'll remember today, but you'll forget tomorrow. So this is the Bibb lettuce. Started on 325. And then I would do a couple more lettuces across here. Like this is a prize head. This is a red and green lettuce. And I might do 3 groupings of lettuce. That's going to be 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36 groupings of lettuces. Lettuces are going to mature once germinated, growing anywhere from say 35 to 50 days depending on temperature. So the next thing we're going to grow, and this is one of the faster growing greens. These plants can get really big leaves, like a foot in size. This is called your mustard greens. We're going to grow these similar. There are different kinds of seeds. Lettuce seeds are kind of shaped like a football. These are shaped, they're circles, little spheres. So we're going to put 2 in each. Hard to see. You don't need a ton of this. So what we're doing is we're putting in faster growing greens, medium growing greens speed-wise. Mustard greens will be ready in like, let's see what it says on here to get it exactly. 21 to 45 days. Depends on temperatures and stuff like that. So we're going to put 2 seeds in each of them. We're going to thin these out probably to 1 plant, but we're growing mature plants. Anytime you put in 1 or 2 seeds, that means we want to get it to the full size before we harvest it. And that would be the mustard greens. And you do the same thing, just scratch them into the surface, about 1/4 inch deep. Any big pieces of wood or material in the cell, remove it like that. This way the seed doesn't get trapped under it. And then you just press it in. And you basically do this for all the seeds we're planting. You can pick whatever you want when you go to the store. I sell a lot of seeds at my seed shop. Sometimes they're about $1 a pack, so they're pretty inexpensive. So you want to get your loose leaf lettuces, a mustard green, that's another lettuce, a salad bowl red, that will go in here. Let's see. Now, arugula is your fastest growing green. That can be ready in 25 days. And arugula you want to plant, you can plant this directly in your seed boxes, you can plant it directly in a garden, but we're going to go with that. We don't have a garden yet, we don't have containers yet. So you want to get 2 or 3 seeds in each of these and just get them started in here. Typically I recommend putting these directly out in the garden, but this will work. And they grow really fast and they're delicious. They have a nice nutty flavor. If you end up dropping more seeds, don't worry about it. So you want an arugula, a mustard green, some leaf lettuces, and you just mix the seeds in just like that. Now, with arugula, your mustard greens, and your lettuces, they're going to get to size, you're going to harvest them, and you'll be done with them, and you'll have to replace them. When the warm weather comes, it's really hard to grow these plants because they grow a little bit differently. They try and flower, their flavor changes. So another plant that you want to grow are kales. And you can get any kind of kale, really. You can get a red Russian kale, which I recommend. You can get curl kale, you can get premier kale. You'll see them at the seed shops or in, you know, the seed places when you go, like Home Depot or Walmart. So you only want one seed, only one plant in here, but we're going to put in 2 or 3 seeds because you don't want to wait around for one plant to be germinating, one seed to be germinating, and it doesn't. So put in 2 or 3 seeds, maybe 4. The other thing too is when you buy seeds, I know you're spending $1, $2 a pack. You're not going to use them all, and seeds can really last easily 2 years, if not 5 years. You just keep them in a Ziploc bag or in an airtight container and they'll last. So we have the kale in, and I recommend, since we're going with the emergency garden theme, to do about 12 different kinds of kale plants. You can also grow collards, they're similar. The beauty of these plants is you're just harvesting leaves, and these plants are going to get big. They can get 2 feet tall, sometimes 3 feet tall, huge leaves, and you're just harvesting the leaves. And you can harvest the leaves later spring, through the summer, they'll last through the fall. They can take a freeze. Here in Maryland Zone 7, they last through my winters. So you're adding in the kales or the collards because it's really a 3-season crop. These will keep growing spring, summer, and fall, while your lettuces, your arugula, and your mustard greens die out. So now we have the kale in. And to be honest with you, this is a ton of plants. So you'll be able to share and give these away. We want to get some spinach in there. Spinach is packed full of nutrition, and the seeds are bigger. So we're going to put 2 seeds per cell, and you can see the size. So we're going to just plant them a little bit differently. Again, you could thin them to 1 plant, 2 do perfectly fine. Spinach takes a little bit longer to grow and to germinate. So one of the goals is just having greens that will produce at different speeds, at different times in your garden. So just take a popsicle stick or a pen, press them down 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch and get them in there. and just close it up. Label that, that's our spinach. I decided I did want to throw in the collard greens now. The collards are a little bit different in the way they grow. We're just going to do 6 of them than the kale, but they're very, very similar. And these will be nice big leaves. You can eat them raw, you can boil them down, scratch them in. So now we're starting to cover the whole garden season with different kinds of greens. And again, I'm in Maryland Zone 7, so these are all going in the cool weather of the spring, going in early. It's March 25th. But I can also plant another round come the fall. You plant in August and then the cool weather comes. And then the last thing for today to plant is chard, Swiss chard, perpetual chard. This is big leafy green too. Now these are big seeds. They're actually pods, so there's multiple seeds in a single pod. So you really just have to drop one of these in there. So you drop one pod into each cell. 2 drop in there, that's okay. Just press them in. 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch. And there's just move enough potting mix that you can cover them up. And then you want to label them. So these are the basic plants that I would start indoors. And it's a lot easier to start 144 plants and take care of them in these flats than it is to dig a whole garden, buy containers, set up flower boxes, and put seeds everywhere. That's why I like growing the transplants, and that's what we're going to do. So then you can just pull the plants out of here and then place them throughout your yard, in your garden, wherever you want. Alright, so let me plant up the rest of my seeds, and then I'll show you how to take care of this. And after they're growing, I'll do the next video will be on how you put these out into your garden, and we're going to cover containers, flower boxes, and putting them into the ground. So this is how I would start my emergency food garden. And I know with the health crisis, a lot of people are scared and nervous and are thinking, you know, what are we going to do? But this is also how I would start my regular garden. So hopefully you're doing this and you're going to find a new hobby that you really enjoy. If you were to go and buy a 6-pack of lettuce transplants at like Home Depot or at Lowe's, it's easily I think exactly actually $3.98 a 6-pack. So that's like $160. You can grow your own for pennies. First thing we want to do is water it. I always recommend bottom watering. So just fill the tray up 1/4 of the way, 1/3 of the way, and these cells have holes in the bottom. The water will wick up. Whatever water is not absorbed in 20 or 30 minutes, just pour out into the ground. These are going to be growing outdoors. Now, your arugula over here will be the first to germinate. So you're going to leave these indoors until you see the arugula break the surface, or maybe, I guess in some cases, maybe another one will break the surface. As soon as you see something germinate, you're going to be moving them outside during the day when the temperatures are 40 degrees or warmer, and you're going to bring them inside at night if the temperatures fall into the 30s. So they're going to do really well indoors at night. The root systems will stay warm in your 65, 70 degree house, and because they're cool weather crops, they can just be out here during the day when it's 40 or warmer. You're also not going to have to acclimate them. Some of you may have grown stuff indoors before. When you grow plants indoors, they're not used to the sun. You have to introduce them to the sun. By doing this method of just moving them in and out, they're going to be ready to go whenever you are to put them into the garden. Now, you can do the flats. If it's raining outside, they're going to fill up with water. Dump the water out when you notice that. Or you can do something like this. It does cost a little more money. You can just put them into these containers, and when it's raining hard, you just take the lids of the containers and put them onto your tote. Just don't leave the lids on 24/7. Too much humidity builds up in there. You'll grow mold on your starting mix, on your potting mix, and sometimes it can heat up too much. So this is the basic way that I would get started with my transplants of the cool weather crops. Please subscribe. I'll be showing you how to take care of your seed starts, how to get them into the garden, and we're going to be doing it on a very tight budget. Thanks for watching.